Stop what you're doing. This Arc Titan build just broke Destiny 2. Outbreak Perfected plus new seasonal armor mods? You're clearing waves, melting bosses, and laughing through endgame content. Let me show you why this is the strongest Titan build this season. Look at this clip alone where I'm literally memeing and mocking all these ads, mini bosses, while every time just running around getting my barricade so fast and turning my titan into a warlock the way I can heal so fast with an overshield, bang, just like that. There is nothing better than a solo titan build or a group made titan build where you can support and just be the one who does it all. For that reason, I love this build and I've been rocking it for all endgame activities. You guys will see more than just some shooting range footage. I have some mythic, some conquest footage to show you, and everything in every way to show you why this build is probably my favorite endgame Titan build. And it's something different because it's not Strand Titan, which 99% of you Titans are probably running. So if you're excited, like, subscribe, and comment on this video. And I am so excited to get into it. So without further ado, let's get into it. So you've seen the survivability aspect in the intro, but the main thing that I gotta start off the build with is talking about our exotic of choice. As you can see, the Outbreak Perfected. This pulse rifle is so cracked with the intrinsic upgrades. This DLC, it is literally the best in slot option in my opinion because it's a kinetic weapon. And what makes the Outbreak Perfected so good, for those of you that don't know, this weapon creates Siva nanite swarms on rapid hits and precision kills. It also has parasitism, rewind rounds, and disease vector, which is like absolutely insane because it just makes it so you barely have to reload this weapon. And playing that behind a barricade, you can already see some absolute insane synergy being made. Now, the one thing that I want to point out that makes it even better is something that's never been in the game before until the Edge of Fate, which is seasonal armor bonuses. Now we're rocking a 4-piece of tech sec, and what that does is you'll see how fast I blow that champion shield. That barrier champion is deleted, and all these combatant shields, how fast they get melted. Now, what is tech sec and how is that, helping us literally break through these shields with the outbreak without even involving anything else on this build yet? Well, the 2-piece clearly states that you deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs, while the 4-piece stuns any combatant with those kinetic shields, like you've just seen right here, where the combatant was literally lost in the sauce and then I just completely deleted him. So that is what makes it absolutely insane. I just mentioned 2 things of the build. We didn't even talk about many other things. The Outbreak plus the Tech Sec armor set bonus already makes this insane, and I know Bungie did this on purpose because they wanted you to use this. Like, it's probably one of the best seasonal armor bonus sets to use. You can see in this mythic gameplay where I also, just delete all these spongy, insanely buffed ads with those same kinetic shields with the Outbreak Perfected. But I want to go through that overshield that we're getting now every time we pop that class item. How is that happening? How is it just too easy? Well, that is thanks to the crest of Alpha Lupi. If you haven't guessed by now, the crest of Alpha Lupi is our exotic armor of choice, and basically it's been changed in the Edge of Fate where it generates an additional orbit power from supers, generating a barricade or dealing sustained damage or defeating targets from behind one, creates a healing pulse, healing your allies, grants barricade energy. Now with the stat rework, if you actually spec into class, if you go past 100 stat on class, dropping down that class item, so that barricade in our situation over here allows you to get an overshield. So my class is currently sitting at 150 and I am getting 20 overshield health, which you can see is pretty much half of the health bar every single damn time. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the stats in a little bit, but let's just look at like the fact that it's so easy to constantly spam the rally barricade. The cooldown is nothing. You can see in this clip right here, while I start talking about the subclass, how many times I spam that class, that rally barricade. But anyways, we are on Arc Titan, and we are obviously using Rally Barricade for our first ability, and then we are using Thunderclap, but that's gonna come down to whatever you want. You could even use the Seismic Strike. But one important thing I will say I kind of feel is mandatory for this build is to use the Pulse Grenade. And the reason for that is because their first aspect is Touch of Thunder. Now, just from an endgame standpoint, this aspect basically enhances our Pulse Grenade's functionality, allowing it to jolt targets and blind targets, meaning you can stun unstoppable champions and actually even overload champions. Let's not forget how it also generates Ionic Traces, which travels through the ground, and when picked up, it gives you more ability energy. So just the whole build is going to revolve around getting back ability energy. And why, you may wonder? Well, it's just to spam that barricade over and over again. Now, what goes perfectly with spamming the barricade is Storm's Keep. Storm's Keep gives us that bolt charge, and bolt charge just makes your Outbreak and all your other weapons be absolutely insane. Basically, once again, backing up the fact that this is just an absolute dominant endgame build, guys. Look at the survivability where I'm just literally goofing off, and I know every time I pop that barricade, I'm chilling. Not to mention, I can just do a lot of damage sitting behind my barricade. It's such a friendly build and so easy to play for many players. And not to mention, this is Conquest gameplay you're seeing in the back right there. But let's finish it off with the fragments. So the first fragment we are using is Spark of Shock, where our arc grenades jolt targets. And then we have Spark of Magnitude, where your lingering arc grenades have extended duration, so that Pulse Grenade does even more. Then we have Spark of Resistance that, just gives us more resistance to incoming damage. And then we have Spark of Focus, which is really clutch, because after sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. And now you're probably understanding, oh, okay, so that's why in the intro he was just circling around those ads and sprinting, because the more I'm sprinting, the faster I'm getting it back. And that makes the cooldown, I don't even know, I think it's less than almost 12 seconds, I would say, which is nothing if you have everything going for you. But yeah, so that covers the fragment aspects and abilities. Now, outside of that, in terms of the special weapon, it's actually completely up to you. Same thing with the heavy weapon. If you want my personal preference, I'm using the Theodolite, which is the new weapon, and then I'm also using the Boomslang 4FR for my heavy weapon. Both of these are good because they are both arc weapons, which helps if you can use a kinetic siphon and a harmonic siphon, which is an arc siphon. So there's just a little bit more synergy there, and also they're good guns. I mean, Envious Arsenal, Vorpal Weapon on the heavy, and you have Reconstruction. You can also get Vorpal Weapon or whatever the case is. Bunch of good rolls on both of those, and the game wants you to use seasonal weapons this season, so it has to be featured pretty much if you want the most benefits, because the artifact mod, which I wanted to go into next, favors you if you use new gear. So everything we've talked about is new gear, which means that's why this is so good for endgame, because you're going to get that 15% damage resistance, and you're going to get bonus damage to every single thing that you got going for you. For our artifact mods, the first thing I want to talk about is Elemental Benevolence, where granting allies an elemental buff gives class ability energy. That's probably the most important one you want to run. Outside of that, you can use Elemental Daze, where stunning a champion creates that explosion plus that shockwave from the seasonal armor bonus to just crank everything up 100 times. And then Shield Crush, where you're amplified, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage, plus shoulder to shoulder for more damage resistance by just literally shooting your gun. I think that's all you got to really run for the artifact mods, and you should be good from there. So run that, and yeah, you should be good. The final thing to probably talk about is just the armor mods, guys. And so for the armor mods, the first thing, like I said, on your helmet, siphons, kinetic siphons for the Outbreak, arc siphons for if you're going to copy my loadout, otherwise it's all good. And then you can pop up a heavy ammo or special ammo finder. For our gauntlets, I have the Bolstering Detonation, Grenade Font, and Focusing Strike. Once again, all these mods are just going to cover more of just getting that class barricade, so your class ability back faster. For our Chest piece, I just use concussive damper and resistance mod, so straight resistance there. For our legs, I use weapon fonts where collecting orbs of power gives us increased weapon stat, and you can see that I'm using a lot of font mods which are also newly introduced because it's giving additive bonuses to our armor stats, so use those by all means, but it's completely up to you. For our class item, once again, I am using a class font with distribution and empowered finish. Empowered finish is going to allow us to get a guaranteed armor charge every single time when we have no armor charges already, so it's just going to help with every single aspect, and that's what makes this build so good, because there's so many things that are synergizing and making it very easy to play and very reliable, whether it's a solo or team setting, and that's why you just got to use it. Now, real quick, outside of obviously speccing the hell into class for that overshield enhanced benefit, you definitely want to go into bonus as the second priority stat, and then third I would just say super, and fourth I'm gonna say grenade. But those first two are the most important. Most important is just class. Honestly, everything else will click for you if you're rocking the synergy that we got going here. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments for me. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe. As always, continue to support the channel. I appreciate everyone that does. Join the Discord for a bunch of giveaways, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.